Good evening. Welcome to the Spiritual Speakeasy, where the bar is always open and the spirits are always served. And yes, I got my own saying right this time. Welcome. We're going to wait for some viewers to get on. This is Chris, in case you haven't met him. We're just hanging out tonight post paranormal investigation at MSP with Get Haunted. Oh my God, they would bitch slap me clear across the city. Haunted Souls with a Z. Get Haunted is in 2 weeks. Sorry guys, I'm tired. I have a paranormal hangover. Bad. It hit us 3 o'clock in the morning, and then a dog got us up at 6 to go outside after it had been out at 12:30 and 3 o'clock. And it's been a short night or long night, depending on how you look at it. I know the rest of you guys are probably getting ready for work tomorrow, but we're gonna move on, and hopefully some viewers will join us or be watching this later on. So hope you guys are doing well tonight. We've got people traveling from Chicago back to Texas and Oklahoma with the storms, so we're praying for a real safe flight and drive home. The Texas people are driving, and I think some of the other Texas and Oklahoma people are flying, so I'm hoping that they fare well with this rocky weather. We've got some storms here, but our internet is up and running good since we left the internet that we shall not mention and are now on bright speed. I'll say that now. Bright speed will go down. But we have fiber internet, and that's working much better. Yay, we have our first person coming on. Hi. We're talking about our MSP investigation last night with Haunted Souls with a Z. Give a shout out to Bella and Brandy. I think they're resting from their paranormal hangovers. It was a very late night. We did a lot of Estes method, had a lot of weird stuff happen to me. And all of us, things that have never happened before in 15 years of doing this. Hi, Kim. Love MSP. Yeah, it was a great night. I really think the thunderstorms and stuff that had blown in before, and we had like wind come through, I think that kind of amped some things up, and so it was a challenging night for the length of the night. Building 4 is my favorite. Yeah. For sure. That's the one we had all our stuff in it. I like the mental health ward. And hi, Alyssa, Perceived Paranormal East Coast. Yay. Yeah. How are y'all? We are talking about MSP, Missouri State Penitentiary, 47 Bloodiest Acres investigation last night. Oh, you played in Cell 13. Okay. We went down, and I've got some clips. We did a couple different places. We were in the mental ward, where they lock up the criminally insane that didn't go to Fulton State Hospital, because back then they didn't all have that ability. They didn't have the prisoner exchange where the prisoners actually had a ward within Biggs that they could go to, because Biggs wasn't around. So they locked them in the dungeon part in Building 4. And we had a couple really crazy experiences. We had one guy, and I've got the clip of that pulled up, and I'm going to try to screen share, which I've never done before for videos. But we had a really interesting talk with him. We were walking by, Chris and myself and Brandy and Bella from, what's her team's name? She'll kill me too. I'm so tired. Oh my gosh. Bella Luna Paranormal. And we were walking through, and Tim from Haunted Souls said, hey, is there a medium here? Like, they're asking for this spirit was asking for a medium. And so they pulled me in, and we sat and talked for a long time, almost 40 minutes. That was our communication. So I don't know how long their communication had been going. And then after that, we went further down into Death Row, and I think we were in Death Row. Maybe we were just in the criminally insane part. Then we went to death row, and we decided that we were going to do a tri-Estes, 3 rooms next to each other, 3 different people with different questions and different monitors. And Bella was in the middle room, Tim was in the first room, I was in the third room, and ended up having, hi Greg.
Hi Greg.
We ended up having the weirdest, it was bad. And I would love to play the video. I'm not sure if I can show that video content on this, but I'll tell you more about that in a little while. But let me see if I can pull this. I'm not going to play the whole thing because obviously it's 40 minutes and that would be the entire podcast, which would be fun. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, that's a preview. So I wonder if I should, hang on. I need to see if
Double screen it.
I don't know how to do that. And I don't know how to know if they can see that or not. They should be able to screen share. I don't know what that just did. I don't know how to screen share. Well, this is interesting.
We need a tech-savvy 12-year-old.
See, I need to know if somebody can see this or not, and I don't know. So I'm going to do a really short clip, and if you guys can tell me if you can see it or not, that would be like amazing. Now that I've got this here, now I don't know whether I can, let's see, it's Control Command, maybe? Control Escape. I will let you know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ah, there we go. Okay. I'm going to try this. I'm going to just do a short clip and see if you guys can see this.
Save each one. Thank you. All right, so
did that show up? Perceived paranormal.
I bet it didn't.
I bet it didn't either. Can't see it, but could hear it clearly.
Do a picture-in-picture.
I don't know.
That would be if you had another camera, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's bringing in somebody. Well, shoot.
You heard it.
You could hear it, but you couldn't see it. Well, shoot. Now I can't get my screen back. I hate electronics. I really hate electronics. Like, they're just, it's awful. There we go. Okay, let's see. This says you've reached your limit on 6 custom layouts. Okay, it didn't. Okay.
Yeah, we blew it up.
We blew it up. Okay, let me see.
Chicanery.
Let's stop. I don't want to stop. Settings. You should be able to screen share it. Didn't we did too.
Well, if you put it in the invite. I don't know if that'll do it.
Welcome to Chris and Julie, where we learn how to use our computer. Yeah. Go to bottom by invites. Okay. Invite. Yeah. Send this link to your instructions for guests or Gmail. So yeah, that's not going to help me on StreamYard. Greg said bottom center. Settings. Layouts. Hotkeys. Recordings. General. Play a sound when guests enter. They can stream to their own destinations. Nope. General. Well, okay, guys. Yes, I'm right settings. So, Greg, I'm in settings, but how do I pull up a video that's saved on my computer? On mirror hotkeys, share an image, shift 1. Was that shift? Whoa, shit. Hotkeys. Shift plus, is that an L or a 1? That's an L. That's an L. That's a lower.
Shift plus V
Plus-
is share video.
Oh, share video. Shift plus V. So I must have to add. Okay. Okay. Hi, Linda.
Hey.
We're trying to figure
Hey.
something out.
We're gonna blow something up.
We are going to blow something up. Oh, look at that. Okay.
Greg
We're
showed us
going
the
to-
way.
Desktop. MSP. Oh, snap. mm, We're getting it, guys. Hang on. It's gonna work. I don't know if that's it. Well, it didn't come on. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Oh, my. We're frozen now.
The first one is a Twix candy bar. The next one is some cinnamon whiskey. Cinnamon whiskey.
Oop, lost it. Oh, this is not good. Now I'm frozen.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're back on. Sorry, clearly that did not work. We were not prepared. We shared and it froze us up. Put in folder. Okay, we'll be prepared next time because I don't know where the folder is to put it in. Greg, you're going to have to help me out here. This is a brand new system and I'm working with it. And well, shoot. Well, anyway, we had some
talk
great.
about it.
We can talk about it. We talked to this guy. I did not get his name. His Sully's
Paul?
the thing. The inmate's name. His name we didn't get, but his roommate's name or Sully's name was Jonathan. Upper left. He's saying put it in a folder in the upper left. I don't have an upper left.
File.
Where are you seeing file up there?
Well, yeah, it was on the other screen.
That's not. Yeah, I got to stay on StreamYard. You're just gonna have to talk us through later. Anyway, his name was Jonathan, and they were using an Alice box, which I had never used an Alice box before. That was really fun. It's a great ITC, a piece of equipment from UK. I think UK nailed it on that one. I really liked the Alice box. And I had a music box, and they had a dead bell, the dead doorbell from Ghost Stop. And so it was one ding for I had never heard of that either. One ding for yes, 2 dings for no. The guy was extremely impatient. Of course, keep in mind that I did like the dead bell. I really do like it. I like the new one you can filter it down or up on the sensitivity of the responses. So like, it may ding on its own, but you can taper it to where it doesn't ding on its own, and then they can ding it. We've done this, our second session with it, that we've got to play with it, and we don't own one. And I was really, where were you before? I was in your place Friday night. Oh, where I am. Yeah, it's crazy. Computer stuff. So anyway, one ding was yes, 2 dings was no. And he was really excited to talk, but he also was very impatient. And, I forgot that he was on in the mental ward. So that would be why he was excited to talk to us.
Well, when he was frustrated, he would start dinging on that bell.
Yeah, he would ding it
ding.
constantly. Like, if you were asking him a repetitive question, or if it was something he didn't want to answer or do. So he wanted me to come in. I came in, asked for a medium. I came in, and then we said, well, can we do anything for you, or something to that effect? And he said fingers. The Alice box said fingers. And I don't have them on tonight, but I had all my rocks, like all my crystals, stuff on my turquoise, and all my rings on. So he was drawn by rings, and questionable whether he was into jewelry, or that was his crime that got him in there, because somebody had obviously left a bracelet on the top bunk for him. So he was very into jewelry anyway. And so we said, well, is there something you want? And he wanted coffee. Typical inmate, mentally ill response, coffee, because that's institutionalized behavior right there. Then, well, we like coffee too. And then he turned around and was like, we don't have any coffee, but, we've got this and this. And he turned around and he said sweets, and he wanted sweets. So we happened to have some tobacco. We had some Fireball. It remained sealed. So we didn't violate any rules. We didn't open up the Fireball and drink it or anything. We didn't smoke the tobacco. And then somebody else had a candy bar. And so we laid all those things there. And then someone else gave him a bracelet. And he seemed very, very pleased with the gifts that we had given him. But then when I said, okay, so this is like a trade, I want you to turn my music box on, I made the mistake of saying, can you turn the music box on? Which, if we all know English, there's a difference between can and would you, because can means I'm capable. Yes, was his answer. But then would you turn it on? No. Ding, 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 ding. So then we went back to yes and no questions with the dead bell, and his no's were real drug out. Like they would be ding, ding, unless he was really like impatient. And so that it made it even more fun, because like we asked him, can you please get those dings closer together so we know the difference between a yes and a delayed reaction? And of course the answer, because I'm asking the questions, it dawned on me later, yeah, I can. Ding. Okay, well, if you can do that, would you? Ding, 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 ding. So he was letting us know that he was not happy. Again, that we kept bothering him, and I kept asking him about the music box. And at one point, he finally got pissed off enough that he rebooted Alice. And not only did he reboot Alice, but he rebooted Alice multiple times. And like 5 or 6 times in a row. So they removed Alice and took Alice down. Tim moved Alice down to where he was sitting, because he was afraid that Alice would get broken, and Alice is expensive in, the $300 to $400 range. So anyway, that was funny. And so we moved the candy bars and everything closer to the dead bell. And then Bella came in, and but I started using dowsing rods, because we figured out that he really didn't like electronics, and he had said he didn't. Yeah, Linda, I would have thought he would have gotten some energy from the crystals as well. Alice, Alice, ALICE. It's an Alice box out of UK. It's a really neat piece of equipment. It's about $350. It's an ITC device.
It's infrared something.
It is. It's got an infrared sensor and some other stuff. It's by Infraready. Infraready. I was trying to find a picture of the Alice box. Oh, there it is. So the words flash on the screen, which is right there. And it'll also do the sensors, the red, green light.
It sounds like one of those those handheld walkie-talkies. It bleeps when it's getting ready to say something, and then it'll light up, and then the word comes up,
right,
and you hear it through the speaker of what's being said.
Like I said, I'd never used one of those, and I was really impressed with how it worked. I mean, I have a lot of different ITC type devices, and I love them all. There's nothing wrong with any of them. I really liked this one though. But anyway, it did not like that one, and was really worried. They were worried that he was going to bust it up.
I like Katie's MCOM.
I
That's
like
my
that.
favorite.
235 euro, whatever those are in UK, pounds. So I guess it came out $325 because I looked it up. But anyway, so we took all that off. We took the Alice box down and moved it. Left the dead bell because that's a old-fashioned system. I mean, it was electronic, but I don't think the inmate knew it was electronic. He was hitting it and thought it was
familiar.
Yeah, familiar. So I started using dowsing rods. And what was interesting is the dowsing rods matched every single time with the bell response. So that was really cool. And then there was a couple things that were very hard yeses and hard no's with the dowsing rods. And then pointed to where somebody was.
Tim.
And both rods went to Tim. So
yeah, he was asking the question, where am I in the room? And
yeah, where am I? That's it.
Went right on straight over.
Yeah, one went and then the other one immediately went to Tim. And then we asked something about, what was the other thing? Where's the stuff we traded with you on or whatever we gave to you? And it went over to the bunk where everything was. The sad part is we had to take the stuff with us at the end because of course you can't leave messes. And you can't leave alcohol, and you can't leave tobacco because you're not supposed to have it, but we didn't open it up, so it wasn't considered contraband. Nobody was smoking it and nobody was doing anything. It was just like a gift, a trigger object.
That's it.
Yep, that's it, Linda. Very cool. And of course we did use Katie Stafford's MCOM as well. We like it a lot. There are two different types of boxes though. I mean, there are two different systems.
That's more of the white noise with Katie's, and this is more of the app style.
Yeah, it'll be fun, Greg. It's going to be a lot of fun to get together and investigate. Infrared Ready also has a site out of Germany. Huh. Yeah, I didn't go through that much. I was trying to do a price check on it, but I was impressed with it. So then we went to Death Row, and this gets into a very crazy story for me. We've talked on this podcast before about my experiences and, having what I would consider to be partial possessions or being jumped by different things. And that's been weird, and it's taken some adjusting, but shocked is never a word that I really am in communicating. I mean, Greg has done a fuck count on my podcast before, and language doesn't bother me. And I come from maximum and moderate security criminally insane unit and a level 5 prison work. So there's really nothing that can be said or done, I thought, that would disrupt me. I mean, sometimes you're kind of shock and awe. You kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, nice. And then you walk off. But we sat down to do that, try the triple Estes method in 3 different cells. And immediately immediately got a fuck you, you're a bitch. And I'm like, okay, that's, it's an inmate. They're just pissed off at the world. They're on death row. They got nothing. They're just expressing themselves. And then it was like feet and lick, and it became very sexually graphic, with a woman whispering in my ear that they could tie me up. And the woman was really instigating. I felt like a lot of the behavior for the death row inmates that I was speaking to, his conversation and several other conversations. And there was some maniacal laughter, and there was like a lot of stuff going on. And I ended up shutting down. I did a countdown and ended up with a really sarcastic countdown. I got 10 out, and then they said 9, 8, 7. They were very sarcastic with it, and said some other things, and had to back out of it, which I've never had to stop in Estes because of just graphic stuff. But it was like there was a part of me that didn't want to spit out the conversation, because I knew I was giving them attention and giving them the energy if I did that. And it's like we got Weezer. We got Weezer joining the podcast. Hi, Weezer. And I also I just couldn't say it. Like, I didn't want to say it on camera, what was being said to me. It was weird. So you think you were more channeling at that point than doing more listening through the white noise? I think I had separated. I think, I don't think I channeled. I think I had kept myself separated. I think if I had channeled it, I would have not hesitated to have said it. And I think I knew I was me and they were them, and I needed to keep the two completely separate because the energy was so bad. Like, the energy was just filthy. It was really gross. It was psychotic. It was bad. It was pathological. And I think I just didn't want to be a part of that. But then I shut it down, and we turned our equipment off, and Bella was just pulling out of her Estes, and she had hers was a little more mellow, and she felt like she had a woman that was actually stopping the actions of the men, like more like, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't say this, but went next door to Tim's room, and Tim was actually saying stuff that linked my conversation with what I was hearing he was saying. And so I confronted and asked him if he was the person that, while he was under Estes, if he was the spirit that I was dealing with. And he indicated he was, very clearly, and said a few profanity things, and then turned around, and I asked him, are you here for some kind of sexual assault or sexual charges? Are you on death row for that? And his response was, I want you here tonight. And it became very graphic, and he started getting very weird in his speech, and I shut him down because he was ramping up, and it was getting absolutely crazy. So then we went back and looked at, were there female officers that had worked there, or maybe medical staff? Yeah, both. More than likely, yeah. Both. Now, in that time period, yeah, I have to say yes, because probably more so medical, well, and even female officers, because when we went to look at the inmates that had died on death row, this is where it gets really crazy, because I say on my podcast, there's always connections. There are no coincidences. One of the inmates was George Mercer. And George Mercer, for you guys that don't know about that scenario, he and his wife was not proven to be an actual accomplice to the death and hostage raping, tying up, the sexual assault, and all of that. She was found guilty of driving the getaway car, and she did do some time. And I think there was something else. She was like, there was assault and battery, and I think there was some other charges I can't remember. And and she's still living, so I won't mention her name. But anyway, Tiny Mercer was a biker, and they grabbed a 17-year-old and tied her up, and he had also committed other murders and some other crimes. It was not a first-time criminal. But he sexually brutalized her and desecrated the body after he killed her. He was very vicious, very mean person. So some people say, and yes, that time period there was a lot of female officers over at MSP, as well as medical staff. Yes. And so, lost my train of thought. So the tie-in was not only, you go through the list of inmates that were on death row that had sexual assault charges along with the other charges, but when I taught nursing school, one of his wives was a student of mine, and I can't give any more details than that because of confidentiality. But there was a personal tie-in, so I felt like there are no coincidences, and that may have been what I was channeling. I mean, I'm not making a direct connection and saying I was channeling or I was talking with George Mercer. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying there are two storylines and they match with the energy, and so take it for what you want to take it for.
Were the cells? I can't remember. Was that his cell, or was that? I can't remember. If there was
I don't know. I thought
cells.
He was in the second cell, and we were like in the third cell, but that doesn't mean that, because we had activity through the whole building with those inmates. So,
yeah, I'm not sure if we
it was in the same vicinity. Yes, very close to the same vicinity. Vicinity. I'm so tired. I can't even talk. What does MSP stand for? Missouri State Penitentiary. The United States is bloodiest, 47 acres. So,
yeah, I think it was started in 1830s, 1840s.
Yeah. And Housing Unit 4 was all African American at one time, stacked 8 to 12 in a cell that should have had 2. It's a crazy place. A lot of stabbings, it is a big place. Yes. And there's only certain buildings. The administration building, 3, 4, the gas chamber, and the women's building is all that's left of it. Like they've
been torn down.
Yeah, we had a tornado come through. They were found to be unsafe. And the city has been battling like mayors and different people for a long time. People wanted to tear it down and making it a parking lot and various other things, and
convention centers
and all these different things. And but it's managed to keep up. And the penitentiary staff, like they have people that run the ghost tours and the historical tours, and they've done a great job of fighting for it to remain. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Because it is, because it is a historical place. I mean, it's one of a kind, and it is extremely haunted.
Well, and I'm extremely drained. I don't think I've ever been this drained before after doing one of these things. I've never had that. I'm usually pretty grounded. When I'm getting down, I might be a little tired, but I felt just totally drained after this one.
Yeah, I was exhausted, and I think I did three Estes. I did the long one. Now my voice is going to go. I did the long one with the dowsing rods and the inmate with the snacky snacks and treats. I did. We did one before that in solitary. I got hit in the head with a flying bat. It buzzed through.
It was a pretty good sized bat.
It went through this way because I had a body cam on it and it had a little light. And I didn't even think about that. And I walked in and I saw this dark thing with wings come out of the cell, and it caught my dreads and went, and I ducked and I yelled. Yes, I did. I yelled, Jesus Christ. And then it came back by and I ducked again, and it hit me again and went swoop. And then it went towards other people and they did more screaming than I did. I was really glad.
Yeah, you stayed relatively calm.
I
for
did.
the
Like
situation.
I was afraid it was going to get caught up in my hair, and then you got dreads. So I'm thinking, did it shit in my hair? And then it's just it goes downhill from there. I always think of things like that. Yeah, Kim, building 4 is beautiful and very sad. I love the limestone. And I think that's it too.
Yeah.
The limestone just resonates that energy.
Holds that vibration.
Well, and Linda says, I wonder how long it would take to dissipate the negative energy, even if it was repurposed. You couldn't. I don't think you could. I don't think there would be a way to do it. You know, when we had an inmate that joined us, a past inmate, he's reformed and out on his own and doing stuff, and has been for 20, 30, well, I can't do the math. Years, 20, 30, 40 years, something like that. He's been out. But he was telling us stories, and you know, they were talking about when building 4 was, you know, when it was segregated. Oh, nobody yelled again. I am so sorry. How it was all the African Americans, and it was, they were stacked 8 to 12, and they didn't have running water, they didn't have heat, they didn't have air condition, and they used the bucket system for toilets and things like that. And people who have not worked in a prison don't understand, like, that how not only is that a horrid situation for the inmates, it's insane, and it's, you know, yes, some people would argue that that's a punishment, and they committed heinous crimes, some of them heinous crimes to get there. One person was executed, one almost child, like teenager, young adult, was executed for stealing a loaf of bread. So back then, you know, their punishment did not always meet the crimes. It was a matter of getting people off the streets, and there was the whole segregation thing was a real big issue. But you know, you've got that many people in the heat of summer with limestone, and you know, limestone is a little bit cooler, but you're still out on a bluff that overlooks the river with the sun beating down. And I can tell you that even semi-air conditioned buildings that are new have those great big industrial fans on the sides of them with air running, it's still 100 degrees when they're not at capacity. So you stop and think, hi, Brandon. You stop and think about the number of inmates in an institution that's got maybe 200 cells in it, or a building that's got 200 cells, and they're supposed to be double stacked. So you're looking at 400 inmates, but instead of 400 inmates, there's 1,600. 1,500, 1,600.
Well, I mean, those rooms are 2 people could stay in a room, but putting 4 people in a room is just
4 is crazy, because that's your toilet. Well, and bucket system, so they didn't have the plumbing and the toilets back then. Plumbing, so you've got the smell of food, you've got the smell of body odor, because there's no running water. So those people were not clean, they were not washed. So you've got the body odor smell, you've got the inmate smell, you have the shit and piss smell, and slurries are, you know. Or I don't know if you've never worked and Perceived Paranormal says her husband Dan works in a prison with 0 AC. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in his Teflon suit, and the smell is horrible. Yep. And that's nowadays, guys. That's nowadays. And, you know, even working at FRDC, where we had people in the halls, but we never ran extra bunks in the rooms. I mean, every once in a while, a double wide cell would have a third person or something in it. Yeah. Kim says a 13-year-old boy was imprisoned for stealing a white kid's bicycle, even though the mother testified that she had given the boy permission. He was locked up. Yeah, it's terrible. And people don't understand that. And then flip it to the other side, you know, having worked corrections, and like I said, having worked in institutions that were overcrowded during COVID, because we were up 500 more in the prison than we should have been, maybe. And I'm just not quoting a number there. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't really know that number. I'm estimating, guesstimating. Slurries get thrown every day. And for those of you guys that don't know what a slurry is, that's basically shit, piss, any body fluid that the inmates can come up with goes into a bucket or a cup, and they throw it on the guards. They throw it on the floor. It's a get even. So can you imagine, 8 to 12 people in a cell using a bucket and tossing that down the hall, or tossing it at the guard?
I'm sure it had to sit there the whole day.
Oh, and that's the whole purpose, is you let it sit there and fester until it's slurry. That's why they call them slurries. Not slurpees, but slurries. That's the first thing I thought of. And I just can't even imagine.
Well, and all that energy, we were talking about the stone, is now in that stone.
Think about that. All those people, the overcrowded in the population.
The years of day in, day out.
Yeah. Resonates
in that wall.
Yeah.
And those bricks.
And no electricity either. Think about that. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't, it was a whole thing. Tragic. And yeah, some good came out of it. I'm not sure what, from my perspective. I mean, some severely radical individuals that committed some heinous crimes were locked up.
Put where they belong.
This is definitely the dark side. I wonder how many came out of that and walked back into the light. Paul did.
Yeah.
I mean, he was super cool to me, had a great conversation. I asked him, I said, I bet there's days that you don't even want to think about that. And he said, but he had friends there. Mm-hmm. He said he had friends because he did 28 years. I think he said 28 years there. MSP, Greg, Missouri State Penitentiary. But he had done 28 years there, hard time, and had gone into JCCC, which was the more modernized version of that. And he said, and he also had custody. He also had guards that were friends. They took care of him. So, when you're institutionalized, that becomes your family. That becomes the people around you, the other inmates and cellies. And, even the guy that we talked to when I was using the dowsing rods and the dead bell and all of that, Jonathan, according to him, Jonathan was his best friend. He told all of his secrets to Jonathan. And, there's that human side of that as well. And sometimes those stories get overlooked when you go to places like that. Everybody wants to go to the cells where the firebug was, or the cells where the person had hung somebody or beat somebody down or knife stabbed somebody 100 times. But just trying to find the humanity. And yeah, God bless Paul. I really enjoyed talking to him. We even were laughing about one of the doctors that made it from MSP to JCCC, and then they found out that he didn't have a license in the United States to practice, and he got fired. Just the things you have in common with these inmates, and you're like, yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah, it was kind of funny, but yeah, society is just kind of weird and off. The grassy area where the chapel used to be was incredible.
Yeah.
Kim, we wanted to go sit there so bad. Bella really wanted to go out in that. We had, this was a smaller tour than a lot of the tours. A lot of them, do 100. They do 100 and 150 people, 125 people coming through. This was 75. It was a sold out show. And I think everybody made it. And, yeah, I'm reading your comment, Linda. Earth is reported to be the only place in the universe that can support the light and the dark sides at the same time. Besides human, which we have that choice. We support both as well. Yeah, I agree. And it's our choice. It is our choice which side we choose every day with every action in every way. That sounds like a Kumbaya song. I'm really tired.
You're drifting.
Woo!
Yeah.
No medicine on board right now. But that's what we did last night, and got to hang out with our
the clips will be interesting to see. You can see.
I got to figure out how to do that. I promise you. Were you guys at Mansfield? The other one for me was Brush. I've never been to Mansfield.
Mm-mm.
No. This was Missouri State Pen. Never been to Mansfield. The other one was Brushy Mountain, Tennessee.
Yeah, I've just heard about that the other day.
We heard about that. Got a lot of good EVPs on the third tier of the women's housing unit, was sitting down by the showers, having conversation about what I wanted for breakfast. When I left, the lady joined in on that, and we talked for, and they talked about that, Kim. So what I liked about this group that we've never done before, each, we've done MSP tour, where the ghost tours that are hired from, the state pen people to give the tickets
staff
and
people there.
The staff people. Yeah. They did a tour. We did an all-nighter there. That was amazing. The next one we did was Get Haunted, and they divided up in groups, and they gave us like a little brief history, and we walked through, and they shared some techniques. That was really cool. So you get the history twice that way. Okay. You're getting things that people have found interesting. Swallow back that yawn. And how to do different things. Well, this one we did 5 different groups. We had 75 people. We divided in 5 different groups. And each place we went, they did a different technique. And most of them we were familiar with.
Cool.
I mean, we've done this for 15 years, Some of them were ITC devices, cat balls, trigger objects like that. Music boxes, cat balls, things they could touch.
Yeah, the singing bowls were my favorite. That was just...
So, yeah, they did one with a singing bowl, and it was not a crystal singing bowl. It was a copper singing bowl. And increasing the resonance and the vibration so that there is a charge in the energy, and charging a person to sit in the middle of a hallway where there were active shadow people, and how the shadow people fed off the energy that was being vibrated by the copper bowl and started coming out. That was super, super cool. And of course, then you've got the limestone, and it was wet, which we all know water's a conduit. So, you've got the past rain, and the limestone's mucky and wet, and the humidity. And so that just kind of increased the resonancy and the electrical charge in the room. That was really cool. They did the human pendulum a little differently than we do ours. We put a person in front and behind. We learned that from Get Haunted. They did it more like a person would stand not touching. You can't really see what I'm doing. I've got like a couple inches in between my hands and Chris. And so then they would tip forward while the people around in a certain...
creating energy.
You were rocking left and right, creating energy flow to be used for that, and got some really consistent answers with that too. That was really super cool. Singing bowls are awesome, and I've got one, so now I'm gonna have to start taking it with me too, which just means more fucking equipment.
Yeah,
my back and shoulders are killing me from just taking a backpack. We've gone from huge wheeling crates to a backpack each,
and still too much. Going simple,
Yeah, just but awesome chairs. Oh my gosh, awesome chairs. Let me tell you, I got to pull this up for any ghost hunters out there, which is most of you guys.
And you can use it for a table too.
Yeah, I had knee surgery, as everybody knows. I had knee surgery in December, and getting up and down floors for me is not pretty. Like, I look like a tripod on crack trying to get up and down. It's not pretty at all. And then some of those floors you sit on, you don't fucking want to sit on, because there's asbestos and there's lead paint.
It's pretty dirty.
And there's bird and dead animals, and there's animal shit.
Sometimes,
it's just some nasty stuff that you don't want to get into. So the gentleman from Spooky Dookie Paranormal, who's now a part of Haunted Souls group, they were carrying these at Emmaus, and I'm going to put that up there. Check those things out.
It's a stool.
They're stools, and they come in they look like a tire,
you just fold
and
them
it's
down.
like a fishnet, like a netting thingy, and you put one on top of each other, and one person can carry it, or You get carabiners, and you can clip each one to your backpack. So you get 2, and they hold
300 pounds.
Let me click on it, and I'll tell you. They hold. Oh my gosh, I lied. They hold 620 pounds. It's a 2-pack, but each seat holds 620 pounds. Portable folding stool, height adjustable, telescopic, and they fold up and fold down. And you can get the 2025 upgraded 2-pack on Amazon for $37.78. $37.78. And coolest thing ever. Very lightweight. I'm trying. There we go. So like you can do flat and sit on them, or you can pull them all the way out. And they're like little accordions. Like to close them, you just pull them apart and then they come back together. And then there's a little strap and a carabiner. So just little things that we would recommend if you don't have them, because it's saved my knee and it saved my back. My friend recommended those. You like them. They are lightweight. And yes, absolutely. Best thing ever. Because sitting in those bunks was horrible. Getting up and down off the floor was worse.
Yeah, well, if
I sat on somebody's crate, and that was, I don't know, that was like, that wasn't much better than the floor. It was clean.
Yeah,
So,
well, you do the all-night stuff,
man,
you start feeling it towards the end of the night. So you
And-
kind of want to sit down a little bit and take a load off the feet when you're
Yeah.
traveling up and down.
Well, and when you're doing these tours with the groups and they want to give you the history and you're 20, 30 minutes in each site, 30 minutes is a long time each site to stand and then have to do 3-4 flights of stairs. Like for me, especially, like I'm doing great, but it's still really helpful just to sit down on those stools. And the nice thing is it doesn't, it takes 1 second to pop them out and sit on them. And then when you're done, you just grab hold of the things and pull them and they go back together. You don't have to strap. There's nothing you have to do. So it's like right there. So best $37 I ever spent. Yep. I love them. They are, yeah. They're so cool. Saved my butt and my knees and everything. So next weekend, we were going to go live. I promised everybody I was going to go live on Facebook, but 75 people, and you know how it gets very loud, and people, we had a lot of beginners this time, this was not a pro night. So this was not a pro night. We had a lot of beginners and newbies, and they were excited, and people were talking, and they were loud. So somebody mentioned good EVPs. Yeah, there was no getting any EVPs. I mean,
it's hard to do. Yeah.
It's really hard. Like, I'm sure it was there, but the contamination was so bad. Death row would have been the only place that I really would have cared about in the mentally ill section ward. But the bat had everybody freaked out because everybody who came through the entrance to that got swooped by the bat. So everybody was screaming, and then they were laughing, and then it was like so much contamination. But next, I don't know where I was going with that, but next weekend, I was going live. I'm going to release the videos, and they'll be captioned, and things like that. And I was seriously going to run them on this thing, but couldn't figure out how to get them up and running. So we're going to do that. We'll get them up and running, and you guys can all view them on the websites, and I'll put them on YouTube too, on my channel. Next weekend, we're going back to Arcadia with Haunted Souls. Arcadia is just a place that's near and dear. Our friends Bella and Brandy. Bella absolutely loves Arcadia, and it's exciting to go with someone who's young because they see things through a whole different set of eyes, and it makes me feel cool to get to work with somebody who's young. It makes me feel younger. Mm-hmm. And they have really, really good chicken fried steak there in the restaurant, and mashed potatoes and gravy. Best chicken fried steak I've ever eaten in my life.
It's kind of a nice little fun road trip.
It's a 2.5-hour road trip, and we like the little stores on the way down, and the place has a great bar and restaurant. They have ice cream, home scooped ice cream, and then we get breakfast for $5. We stay at the bed and breakfast that's there. It's in the actual rejuvenated buildings. And so we stay there. We stay in the laundry house because it has air condition and heat. And I got the last room. I did. So we have an air conditioned room going into the 80s and rain. And so we're going to be ghost hunting there. Pardon me. And then staying all night for biscuits and gravy breakfast. They have other things. They have amazing waffles and all kinds of stuff there for $5.
Yes.
For $5 a piece. But their biscuits and gravy are ginormous with eggs, and it's, yeah. Wish I had that for the lines at Paracon. I have health issues and not being able to sit was killing me. You got me. Do it. Do it. I'm telling you, clip it onto your backpack. It may weigh a quarter of a pound.
Yeah, it's not real heavy.
They're not even a half a pound.
I don't know how round they are or something.
They're in my car. Like this big.
Not even quite. Yeah, something like that.
Like this big.
What do you think, about 12 inches around, maybe? 16 inches?
It is. So the base is as wide as the top. 10 inches. So the seat is 10 inches. And it goes up in height from 2.5 inches to 18 inches. Yeah. Closed is 2.5. So it's this thick.
And 10 inches round. Closed.
10 inches round. And then 18 inches is the tallest. But you can set it any height you want coming up.
I set it all the way up.
We set it all the way up. And you get 2 of them for that price. So one of them, if there's only one person, well, that's a double. So I don't know how much one is. But you don't want the 2-pack for $31. That's the 2-pack with accessories. You want the 2025 upgrade. I don't know why. I was just told to get the Spooky Dookie said get the 2025. So I went with what Spooky Dookie says. So you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Craig. Next week, we're going to go live. If I have network permission, which I'm sure I will, I'm going to do a live Saturday with Bella and Chris and Brandy at Arcadia. That'd be Saturday. And then Sunday show, I want you guys to come in. This is going to be something totally different. So I put it out there. Yeah. With me in the room as well. Yeah, that's a good idea. Kim. I'm going to have a friend of ours, Allison, is going to be on, and we're going to talk about farm life. Something completely different, but it's spiritual. She's our egg lady. Type telescoping stool to search in Google. Okay. Mine was on Amazon. So, yeah. And she's going to talk about, and she might even have them on. She has her chickens that have names. And so you talk about free range chickens. Her chickens and roosters have names. And she has the little long haired cows that are so cute. And then she has like little goats and things like that. And so she is very much a spiritual person with her animals and how she shares with the community. And I put out a thing on my Facebook about podcasting, and she says, I have chickens. And I said, and you're going to talk about them. And I don't think she thought I was really going to do that. So Father's Day weekend, Allison is going to be on with me talking, and possibly her husband too, talking about their little farm and their chickens and their life and things like that. So just to take a break from the heaviness of the paranormal and the drama in the paranormal and the and metaphysical.
Likes to talk,
she does. She likes to talk, and it's fun. But the Spiritual Speakeasy is about a lot of different things. It's about a lot of different aspects of our lives that are spiritual. Have I talked about water and how it absorbs words? I have not yet. I have not yet. Linda, DM me. DM me.
Well, I guess it would hold electrons and vibrations.
Well, it would. It's a conduit. So yes, it would. It would hold a lot of things, which is why the old adage that you shouldn't sleep with your bathroom doors open, because It allows things to come through the pipes and the water. Not that you have running water during the night, but it's still access to it. So yeah, DM me, Linda. We'll talk. So anyway, that'll be next week's show. And then I have an author of horror books coming on, Brian Smith will be coming on, and he writes horror.
You're almost there. You're almost there. Come on.
Horror, not horror stories and books, short stories and books. And so a lot of different aspects on this show to keep you guys hopping and keep y'all thinking and all that. So we appreciate you. Keep listening, keep tuning in. I am scheduled with guests all the way through August. I've got some super exciting things coming. I am so stoked. We've got God, I cannot talk.
Almost there.
Sasquatch sisters. Obviously paranormal and Sasquatch hunters. I have alien people. I have other cryptids people coming on.
Production people coming.
Yeah, some YouTube production people coming on that shoot, husband and wife teams that shoot their own paranormal videos. And some metaphysical people. So I'm pretty excited about the whole summer. It's booked, and just lots of exciting things coming up, and hoping to share all of the investigations and everything as well that we're going to be doing with you, and coming live and doing things where we can walk away and do our own thing and not be with teams, and we can talk more. Be a lot of fun. Great videos coming up. Enjoy your venue. Thank you, Linda. The painting on our wall. That one? What if I can't find the camera? There we go. That is okay. So there's an artist. I don't even know how to find him. There was an artist on Facebook that somebody hit me up with and said, so you can send in your picture and they can make you into like Vikings and all that kind of stuff. And so that was, it was one of Chris's presents, was us as Viking. Kings and queens kind of. Yeah, that was fun. I was like, probably not the rabbit that needs to come down, but I leave him up all spring. And then my grandson's artwork's hanging behind us because, we're sitting in the family room because behind my desk is like just too small. We can't both fit. And we have a kitty. No, kitty got down.
He got tired of all the
Got
talking.
tired of the talking.
Oh, he's at the cat condo over there.
Yeah, the cat condo. And we have various animals all around that have joined us for the podcast tonight. We have there's our dolls. There's Mika. Mika's the German Shepherd. Because when you have children, they leave their pets behind. Kenny turned around. That's Kenny. And the one laying down, you can't see me, but the one that's laying down under the snake cage, that's Weezer. That's our pet population. Well, Thorn's in his kennel. He sleeps in his kennel. Love the bunny pic and the brickwork. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight and having the home tour and me being totally garbled in my speech and everything else. We made it through. Yeah. And we sold for Amazon too. Like, look at that shit.
Just plugging everything.
And we plugged, we plugged Katie Stafford, Supernatural Inc.'s MCOM.
Yeah.
And we plugged the Alice Box UK. And so lots of selling on this station. And with that, I'll end. You guys have a wonderful week. Be safe. Stay healthy. Watch out for the storms. Turn around, don't drown.
Mm-hmm.
All that good stuff. And we will see you next week. Good night, guys.